This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Richard Davenport joins us now. RD, we're going to start with the roster spot, and then we'll ask you about some of the freshmen that are hopefully going to be called upon tonight. Chandler Lawson in town a couple days ago, checking out Razorback basketball. What can you tell us about the Memphis transfer and what he maybe thought about his visit?
Yeah, he was in town Tuesday and Wednesday, left yesterday afternoon. His father accompanied him on the visit. I was able to talk to him, and it sounded really positive. He was able to watch yesterday's practice at around 7:45 yesterday morning. And anytime kids and parents are able to watch Coach Muss and them practice, they're obviously very impressed and come away kind of encouraged about what they could possibly, type of program that they could possibly be in, and how it's going to be ran, and what the coaches demand of the players. But and then he just kind of showed some similarities of his game to other players that he's coached in the past, and that seemed to be a hit with him. So he when I asked him about other visits, he said he didn't have anything scheduled yet or anything like that. I think he may, and he didn't tell me this, but I think he may make one more visit. I don't know that for sure, but he said a decision could come, this week, end of this week, or first part of next week.
We talk about the coaching balance of recruiting during the NCAA tournament, how it's got to be a give and take with focusing on the game ahead. And now Muss is still he's in New York, obviously, with balancing making sure Anthony and Nick and Jordan and everything works out on their end. Is that a similar balance that he's just kind of having to go through this week?
Yeah, I mean, I think their focus is just, obviously the support and be there for the guys in New York and all the guys that have potential to go pro. But I mean, we've seen on social media all this week them promoting NBA and the pro hogs and stuff like that, and this is just gonna elevate the NBA and Muss connection even more, possibly after what happens tonight. And then, they're obviously going to promote it, and kids are going to be watching tonight in all classes, and they're going to probably see Muss and a lot of talk about Arkansas, and that's just going to go into the marketing plan of Coach Muss and the staff. And it's something that, you embrace, and you obviously, kind of build up to it. And then when it happens, I'm sure that they're going to blow up on social media tonight too.
Yeah. Richard, busy time around the state. I know, high school coaches in virtually every sport, particularly basketball and football, trying to get team camps in, and there's 7-on-7s going for football, and it's a busy time right now. I really enjoyed your piece you wrote on Alma's Jackson Daly. Made me think about his dad Adam down there, and Jackson's trying to climb the recruiting boards. But that was a well-done piece, and a lot of Razorback ties in his family for Jackson Daly down at Alma, who's kind of just a good all-around player for the Airedales.
Yeah, and he's a good-looking kid, too, about 6'2", 220 pounds. Is ran right in the 4.5s, which when you're 6'2", 220 and you run that well, you would tend to think he would be getting more looks. He's getting some looks, but maybe he'll start getting more looks because he seems to deserve it. He could play tight end, he could play linebacker. He's going to be playing quarterback this year for Alma. That's what you usually do with your best athlete, is put him at quarterback, and evidently he's the best athlete on Alma's team. And obviously his bloodline is pretty good. Three former quarterbacks, 3 former Hogs. His grandfather played for Arkansas, his father played for Arkansas, and his uncle Clark Moore played for Arkansas. So sometimes you can't explain why some kids don't get as many looks as you think they should, but at some point, sometimes it just happens all at once, and then then it just kind of snowballs, I guess you could say.
Man, his dad was a great fullback for a couple of years, about 20 years ago. But I mean, the fullback's a lost art anymore. I guess they need to bring the fullback back into play for Jackson.
I know. Whenever I write fullback, I feel weird because you just exactly what you just said. You just don't see the fullback hardly any featured in college anymore. A little bit in the NFL, but it is just strange to say fullback.
Arkansas recruiting wise, Richard, and on the subject of football, I know the class this year is patched up, but who are some maybe in-state guys? I know Brown committed this last week out of Bentonville. Who are some other in-state guys that might be on the fringe of getting offers from Arkansas?
That's a good question. I mean, obviously the camps kind of help there. The coaches are able to see them in person, but maybe guys. I mean, they got 11 guys that that have offers in the 2024 class, and that's kind of a high number. Is there anybody else that may get an offer in the 24 class? I don't know. Obviously, Marcus Wilberly from Bauxite got an offer from Arkansas after a camp last week. He ran a 4.52, had a 38-inch vertical, 10.2-inch broad jump. Great athlete, and he's going to be recruited as a safety to Arkansas. But any other guys off the top of my head for maybe another offer in the 24 class, I can't think of anybody. But there are obviously some guys that they can continue to evaluate, and they'll watch during the first part of the season and look at the first 4 games of their senior year, and then make a determination whether or not they want to do anything then.
I think Marcus's story is pretty cool in the fact that Sam Pittman comes up to him and was like, "You want to be a Razorback?" And he said, "Yeah, all my life." And he's like, "Well, I wanted to be too, but I didn't want good enough, but I think you are." I mean, it doesn't get much better than that, does it, Richard?
No, it doesn't. And talking to him afterwards, both he and his father teared up and got emotional when Coach Pittman told them. And then they kind of collected themselves, and when they went outside to get in the car, they both hugged one another and got pretty emotional. So we always talk about what it means for in-state guys to get offers from Arkansas, and he was a prime example. He'd been working all of his life to achieve that goal, and to be able to achieve it, that usually is what happens. Kids get emotional, they tear up, and it's quite a moment, obviously, for the family and the kid.
So, where you were forecasting the weekend coming up, and I think you wrote there were at least 16 prospects expected to be on campus. 12 of them, as you reported, rated 4-star or higher, and by at least one recruiting service. 6 of those are committed to Arkansas. It sounds like this might be the biggest recruiting weekend of the summer, at least, coming up.
It is, without a doubt. The previous weekends you had 2, you had 7, and this past weekend you had 9. So this is almost double of last week, but with 16. But a good combination of commitments and guys that are not committed. So the committed guys, they're going to be all in trying to get those other guys to jump on board. I was talking to KJ Jackson last night, the quarterback who's committed to Arkansas, the 4-star, and he's excited about coming up this weekend and trying to convince some of the other guys that are not committed to be Razorbacks. And if there's one young man that you'd want in your corner to as a coach and trying to get other guys on board, it's KJ Jackson. Such an impressive young man, a leader. Arkansas fans are going to love getting to know this young man over the next few years. He is so impressive, and that's why he's a quarterback and a leader, and he'll be that once he gets on campus at Arkansas too. But he already is a leader of the recruiting class. All the guys in the recruiting class, as far as the commitments, they're in a group chat and start, trying to build that relationship with one another and before they get on campus. But a lot of them will be able to spend time with each other this weekend while also recruiting others.
So you got, of those 12 four-stars, 6 of them not committed to Arkansas. Who of those 6 that are not committed stand out to you? Who are some names that you hope we're reading about next week have given a pledge to the Razorbacks? Who stands out amongst that group?
Absolutely. It's an impressive list. Fletcher Westfall, we've talked about him several times, an offensive lineman, 4-star from Virginia, 6'8", about 320 pounds, massive young man, great kid. He's visited Arkansas three previous times, so he has a high level of interest. This will be his last official visit. He's visited Georgia, Clemson, Florida. I'm missing one other, but he'll be on campus. And then DJ Barber is one of the linebackers that'll be in this weekend. He's from Alabama. He's one of those guys that's rated a 4-star by one of the recruiting services. About 6 foot, about 220 pounds. Great kid. He's visited twice previously, so this will be his 3rd time. He's very excited about coming up, and another great kid. Xavier Atkins, LSU linebacker commitment. He'll be in for an official visit this weekend. He's previously visited Arkansas 2 other times also. But those are just a few. But it's an impressive list, and a lot of good kids. And that's the thing I really enjoy when you get the opportunity to talk to them in person or over the phone. This old guy gets a little inspired by the younger guys.
Richard, last thing, and I want to tie this back into basketball as we're heading into the NBA draft tonight. Arkansas is likely going to have 4 players drafted. You've had better postseason success than anyone the last 3 years in basketball. Kentucky is not on the ropes, but has dropped off a little bit. What would it take for Arkansas basketball to pass the Wildcats, if possible, as the better program right now in basketball in terms of where recruits want to land?
Yeah, continue to do what they do in the postseason. Do better than the Wildcats, and I tend to think that you need to win a national championship to kind of elevate and kind of get that notice that so many people put on Kentucky so much, because Kentucky hasn't won a national championship in quite some time, and anytime you win a national championship, you're in the spotlight for a good amount of time until you kind of fall out of the spotlight, kind of like Arkansas did, obviously, but in the 90s. But I tend to think you kind of continue to recruit like you are, and you got to go deep in the NCAA tournament and hopefully win it.
Richard, we'll leave it there, man. We appreciate you jumping on with us. Big night tonight for some guys that you developed relationships with as early in high school, and hopefully their dreams come true later on tonight.
And one thing, it still blows me away. My first story on Anthony Black was not a basketball player. It was a football player. He got an offer from Arkansas, from Chad Morris and them, and he was excited about it. He had like 3 or 4 offers in football and 1 in basketball at the time as a sophomore. So you wonder, okay, if he didn't play basketball, would where would he be in football? I would tend to think that he would be highly successful and probably a prime candidate to go to the NFL. So he's one of those crazy stories that you just look back on and think, how neat is that?
Yeah, probably not talked about enough, that angle of his total athleticism. But, Richard, good stuff, and we look forward to visiting with you again next Thursday.
All right, guys, we'll see you.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.